What up, boys? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So we're doing a second video on the Proboscis Cernos. Honestly, I don't care. So yeah, we're gonna go over the tentacle bow again today, and I'm gonna show you it with a Riven actually, because I finally got a Riven for this thing. I was thinking, like, oh, it's got 0.5 disposition, like the lowest Riven stats you can have. It's not worth it. And then I realized that getting a multi-shot Riven on this thing actually is really good. So, yeah, we'll show a multi-shot Riven on here, and we'll briefly go over it again. Remember, this thing comes from the market, so that's pretty nice. Alright, so yeah, we got the Proboscis Cernos. You fire off some arrows that creates tentacles in the area that pull enemies in. The tentacles will deal some damage as they are expanding out, and then once they explode, like it pulls in and then explodes, and then the explosion is going to do a big chunk of damage. So let's just show that real quick. See, like there's minimal damage, and then the explosion at the end. And the explosion does a lot more damage than the pull-in. So yeah, I've been finding this weapon also really good with Wisp. And not just Wisp, but the Breach Surge ability in general, which you can subsume onto other frames. So yeah, I'm going to show it with a Riven. Now that was with the Smita crit buff right there. It does not normally crit like that. That's one of the big problems with this weapon, in my opinion, is it does not have really respectable crit chance at all. But as you see, impact, puncture, and slash on the impact of the arrow, and then the explosion has viral. So you can do viral, corrosive, and heat. And that is what I opted into doing here. Alright, so let's just show the build real quick. I haven't really messed with the build too much, but yeah, the Riven we're messing with is we're going to be using Proboscis Cernos Ignicon. So that's going to have heat damage, multi-shot, and minus damage to infested. So here's the thing. With multi-shot mods on just weapons with really low disposition Rivens, like as you can see, the lowest stats possible, there are only two multi-shot mods you can normally run on primaries. Split Chamber and Vigilante Armaments, or if you're running a shotgun like Hell's Chamber or whatever it's called, for the shotguns. So that's 150 multi-shot with these two mods right here. So if you think about it like this, there is no other multi-shot mod you can run. So a 0.5 disposition Riven with multi-shot roll technically can be worth it, depending on how high of a stat you get. So with this low of a Riven stat, you actually need two positives and a negative to get any respectable kind of stats. I believe the highest multi-shot possible on a 2 stat and a negative is about like 64, so I'm 10% multi-shot off the max. Got a pretty low multi-shot roll on here, but the heat is pretty good too. So yeah, this will allow you to have 3 multi-shots. You're firing a lot more tentacles. Honestly, you're firing so many tentacles that the game can kind of lag out sometimes, to be honest. So yeah, we have corrosive and heat on the impact of the shot, and then viral, corrosive, and heat on the explosion. And since we have heat on the Riven already, I probably could find a way to take this thermite rounds off and put something else in that slot. But for the time being, we're going to stick with what we got, with the heat being higher weighted than the viral, but still slightly lower weighted than the corrosive. So we'll be getting plenty of corrosive procs, and the heat procs from this thing are pretty juicy, so I do enjoy the heat procs. We have 120% stash chance with the 3 dual stat here, and you could probably fit some more stash chance on there as well. Vigilante supplies for increased ammo, like mutation and all that, and technically when you get that 7% crit chance, you can get some orange crits here and there. Alright, so I'm going to show it real quick. I keep getting the Smita cat buff, or crit buff for some reason, so let's just summon some gunners and some bombard, and then we'll show some steel path gameplay. How's that sound to you? So yeah, I think that getting a multi-shot roll on a 0.5 disposition Riven is honestly not the worst thing in the world. I'm trying to think like if there would really be any role I'd care about besides multi-shot on a really low stat Riven like this. Like, for the Proboscis Cernos specifically, like, you definitely want to have multi-shot because it does not scale really well with crit. There's the Wisp thing. Of course, like I said, it does not crit normally like that. So, yeah, with Wisp, you're getting a bunch of... Since the tentacle pull-ins do damage and so does the explosion, it's very nice for creating those little ghosties. And as you see, that's a lot. It's a gigantic tentacle mass when you fire off a multi-shot Riven with this thing. So I do definitely enjoy that. And of course, if you're not fighting level 180 heavies, it's gonna basically kill them. Either the tentacles are gonna kill them as they're touching them, or the explosion will kill them and also those tentacles go through walls as the explosion. So let's just quickly show that here. I'm going to fire the tentacles at that wall right there. It grabs them through the wall, pulls them over to the tentacles, and then explodes. That's very nice, and of course you can do that. It's much more effective in mission, the tentacles pulling through the walls. So as long as you have some enemy radar in your build, you will be able to see where the enemies are and kill them with the tentacles through the wall. Very, very satisfying to do, and lots of multi-shot. If you spam it, it's definitely going to bug out your game a little bit, so be careful. Use with Mirage with a lot of caution. Let's actually just give it a quick shot here. Alright. Alright. Yeah, I do think this thing is worth getting a Riven for, and as Mirage goes down... Alright, get back up. Good stuff, good stuff. Alright, now let's do it with multi-shot Mirage stuff. As you see, the game is lagging out a little bit. But, you know, it's not too big of a deal. That was a lot of heat procs, honestly. So, yeah, I'd say go for my god roll for this. And someone actually tried to sell this to me the other day. It was multi-shot, damage, toxin, and then I think it was minus impact. That's probably not the entire god roll, to be honest, but, like, damage and multi-shot's a good place to start. Toxin's gonna make it where you're higher weighted into viral. Although I really do like the heat weighting on here. You get lots of heat procs, and then, like, with all this status chance, getting that much heat is nice for the damage over time. You could also try fire rate. I have a fire rate mod on here. You could technically take off the fire rate mod if you had a fire rate Riven, but, you know, it's really going to be up to you. I'd just say go for a 2 stat with a negative until they hopefully buff the Riven stats on this thing in the future. So let's get some gameplay up of some Steel Path, and I have the Wisp free. Like I said, Subsume on Breach Surge, you'll get lots of damage ticks and lots of ghosties flying out and taking care of the enemies for you. It's not going to look very good here, but just keep in mind that's because it is the Steel Path and it is a gun. Guns in the Steel Path, not exactly a good combination, unless you're using it as a Condition Overload Primer. So, yeah, there you go. We got 4 Corrosive procs and 1 Viral proc, and the Electric proc is from Wisp. So, we should definitely just be using our melees here instead, but as you can see, it's doing okay. That is with the Smeeto buff again. This thing responds really well to outside crit buffs, although it does have a low crit multiplier, to be fair. So it's just basically a ghost farm here. Ghosts and Tentacles. What a good combination. So yeah, of course you just whip out the melee, red crit / proc city. Yeah, so if you guys do not have this thing already, I do think it is probably the best weapon from the Deimos Arcana update. I mean, actually, the Bubonico might be better, the Bubonico. It might be better. Let me know in the comments down below if you think the Bubonico or the Proboscis Cernos is better. I want to say I like this more, honestly, especially after getting this Riven. I did roll a Bubonico Riven a lot, and I got multi-shot crit chance. I don't know, man. I just kind of like this more. The fact that it pulls the enemies in is fun, and it's just hilarious how many tentacles are on the screen visually. So, as you see right there, the Assassin Squad gets summoned in. They all get pulled into one area because of the tentacles, and then it just make quick work of them with Breach Surge afterwards. They're also blinded. There's also that. So, yeah, guys, hopefully you found this video fun. More videos on the way. Just gotta get some stuff. I really hope, like, honestly, here's my hope. They've really got to release a new update after that dev stream comes out this Friday. I am hoping they're like, all right, next week on PC, guys, Corpus Lich is coming out, because at this point, like, you know, I'm just doing. Like, getting this Riven was fun. I had some fun using this thing today, but we need some new stuff to do in this game. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Take it easy and peace.